My biggest question is, are they altering Kang and he's actually from the past, not the future? That's where I'm at with this episode. Welcome to IJustWatched. I'm Joseph. Spoiler warning if you haven't seen it, but we're talking Loki Season 2, Episode 3. The biggest thing in this episode is definitely the fluctuation or the change of Miss Minutes from semi-villainous to definitely a cold-blooded monster, and you can see it as she's just simply getting jealous between Victor Timely and Ravonna kind of having a thing, even though Ravonna's all business. She's strictly business, and he's like, I'm kind of falling in love. And Miss Minutes like, nah, F that. She got to go. We don't play that around here. If you love anything, if you love anybody, it's this clock, all right? Now let's make me a body so we can get jiggy with it. I actually like the idea of one of his own creations becoming the villain and then being such a enemy where the enemy of my enemy is a friend situation, although it does feel like Victor Timely is going to be one of the few super rare variants that's going to be a good guy, and I'm kind of cool with that. I kind of like that idea if they're going that way. I'm definitely hoping they don't do where he's kind of a good guy and then at the end he becomes a monster and then dies or whatever. I just let him be a good guy, even if he does die in the season, just because it's another variant that they're kind of taking off the table. But I would love the fact if they keep him kind of being different, because as we see in the episode, when Ravonna shows up with Miss Minutes to drop the TVA guidebook, it says Sacred Timeline. And when we come back later, it is no longer. It is a branch timeline. So that makes me think, if when she went back to the, was it 1820 something, 1830 something, whatever, to drop the book, and it said Sacred Timeline, are they switching it up? Is Kang now from the past versus like the year 3000 and change from the future? So instead of him being a descendant of Reed Richards, is Reed Richards going to be a descendant of him or of his, whatever? You know what I'm saying? You see where I'm going with this? Is this going to be one of the switches for the MCU where he is from the past, he learns how to time travel and how to manipulate time, and then traverses time itself? Instead of like in the comics, he's from the future, uses some Doctor Doom tech to basically do the same thing. And if I remember correctly, for the most part, I can't really remember of a variant or version of Kang that is a good guy. Like legitly, there's moments when he'll kind of play good. Wasn't like the Red Guardian, not Red Guardian, Red something, I apologize, who was kind of good, but it was his son if I remember correctly. I'm kind of trying to go off the top of my head, but it would be cool just to see this version, Victor Timely, as a good guy and go down that route and then, you know, take us where it takes us, especially because we're halfway through. We got 4, 5, and 6 and we're done skis. I'm definitely enjoying Jonathan Majors as Kang. I think he does a great job. One thing I have noticed is that they're making Kang a very emotional character, which isn't a bad thing. I was just kind of hoping for that over the top, like Reed Richards, that over the top super genius, so doesn't relate and doesn't go like, I need to feel emotions, just goes logically this, and this. I was kind of expecting that because that's how the character is. I'm not entirely against this more emotional version of him, as long as they keep playing it. Plus, once we get the Kang the Conqueror, not just a variant, that could be a totally different story, and it's just the variants that are having that bit of a emotional story. Also, I think the big secret with Miss Minutes is like, I know everything about him, and I know a huge secret about you, Ravonna, that's gonna make you mad. So the big secret that I think Miss Minutes is going to reveal to Ravonna is the fact that they are married or were married. He wiped her mind, cutting his emotional ties, becoming that monster, that version of Kang, so that way he can separate himself. And that's when he turns to TVA, using the lies and secrets that he used, and kind of separates himself. And that's what leads us down the road of this war that is the Kang War, the multiversal war. And I think that's when he cuts ties with her to keep her safe, but also to focus, where he can't be as emotional now. He just needs to be logistical to win the war, to win this fight. I'm intrigued. This show's definitely picking up. I mean, the first couple episodes were not necessarily bad, but they just weren't really wowing me. And when we only got 6 episodes, I need shit to percolate. All right, I need to be drawn in immediately. And it was kind of lackluster. I mean, the reference to Balder's cool, but he was supposed to be in like 4 movies by now, and that character I don't think is just ever coming to fruition. And it's definitely not going to be Daniel Craig anymore. So just let it be dead. There's some cool little references throughout. I mean, the fact that Victor Timely is a swindler and he's like, that's a prototype, and the possible reference to Stiltman and things like that in the episode were fun. What really sold me on the episode is the fact that we're seeing Loki do some more magic. Thank goodness. It's kind of like they've allowed us to understand that magic's a thing and they're a little bit more comfortable using it. And secondly, just Jonathan Major himself. I think he's a great cast. So far, he's been the best parts of items, entities, or things he's been in as Kang. He's been the best part. He's been the standout. But I want to hear your thoughts, comments, questions, concerns down below. How'd you feel about the episode? Are you excited for 4? Are you excited for the series? Theories, comments, questions. You know I love hearing from you. Do you agree? Do you disagree with mine? Where do you think this season ends? And how do you think it affects the future of the MCU, especially that Kang Dynasty is supposed to be a soft reboot to the MCU from what we've been hearing lately. But you know I love hearing from y'all, so until next time, stay safe, be well, y con mucho amor, adios.